Hello, hello, hello. Today, we're going to talk about Valkyrie and going over her changes and just kind of discussing her buffs slash nerfs. Honestly, it kind of feels like more like nerfs than buffs, but that could just be, copium on my end. But anyway, let's just kind of go over it. So the Awakened Valkyrie would repeatedly cycle between Sacrum and Promptness. If you guys don't know what they're referring to, they are referring to Valk Train, which is just you hold the RT and the A button. This is console controls, PC, whatever, just convert the controls. But essentially you would go around and you would hit mobs like so, and you would one-shot them. Realistically, this was only used at spots like Centaurs and like Polys, Murray Cave, things that one-shot monsters, right? And it wasn't really that crazy, and it wasn't really that broken, in my opinion. It was kind of decent. Like it wasn't that nuts. All right, nothing that required a big nerf, in my personal opinion. But they go on to say here, making her an overpowered presence in zones comparably, where comparable monsters were weaker. AKA, again, Centaurs. This was really the only spot that made a lot of sense for that kind of movement. However, this cycle proved less effective than less effective in the higher end zones, which I don't know a single player that was trying to Valk train at like Sancta or whatever. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't think any players really did that. So I'm trying to figure out exactly who this statement is for, because not a single person ever was like, yo, let me Valk train in Sancta. Nobody's ever asked for that. So whatever. So thus we carried out an overall reconstructing of her awakening arsenal by somewhat lowering the overwhelming efficiency of her capabilities in so-called one-shot spots. AKA, we want you to stop doing Valk train and go grind higher level areas, and essentially just goes on to say here that they properly equip her to deal with high-end zones. All right, so I call cap. So this is Kendaya. This is my boy here. Drop a sub. This is the young ward, and he's been playing Valk for a long time. I've kept up with the videos on just the what he's been dropping, talking about Valkyrie recently, and as well as Blue Squadron, mentioning Valkyrie's changes and everything like that. And I gotta be honest, this character is just not it. It's really not it. I left a comment on here too, which I also want to bring up. I kind of mentioned this in my Zerker video, where they're updating characters to the point where they're trying to even out the PvE playing field and sort of trying to like buff their characters and whatnot. And here's the thing, right? I understand that a lot of people are they don't understand my process of thinking. It's fine. I'll explain it. Okay, so pretty much the idea here was I just felt like they were nerfing characters PvP in order to buff the playstyle for PvE, right? I get what you're saying. You don't think that I should compare every class to an S tier class. Okay, now my thought process behind this is I don't like fucking grinding. I don't want to grind. It is my least favorite thing to do in BDO, and yet it is a core mechanic, a part of the game. You have to do it, right? So if you're gonna do something that is unfun, wouldn't you want to do it in the most effective way possible? That is me. I would rather play a character where I can just S tier grind my way to my gains to where I don't ever have to grind again. I played Striker, I played Hash, I played a myriad of characters over the past few years, and I've always used the tag system to have a fun character for PvP and other things like that. And then I have my tag, which is just meant for strictly grinding or like experimentation for videos, whatever. That is the point of the tagging system, was so that way you could have options outside of just playing one singular character. So even though, let's say, for example, I could main Valkyrie, I don't hate her grind, or I do hate her grind, or whatever, and it's like, well, I don't want to grind on her anymore. So guess what? I can just tag Striker, hold the B button, and bada bing, bada boom, I'm grinding. Easy, right? So I get what this guy is saying, where he's like, if you're just comparing everything to an S tier, you're just going to be upset that your character sucks, or whatever the fuck he's talking about here. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to fucking grind, so I'm not going to play a class that takes more effort for less of a payout. And we can even go down here to another comment, which Kendaya literally states that, yeah, the damage is above average. Let me just highlight that for you brothers real quick. Above average. above average. It is not that crazy. It is not very good. And he goes on to say with very high APM. Very high APM. So not only are you barely getting an above average performance, you are having to press more buttons for an above average performance. Not worth it. Not worth it. Anyway, and he goes on to say, makes the class not good. Here we go again. Not good class for PvE with this level of APM. They've done it. They've done it. There you go, boys. So yeah, as much as I would love to, you know, play Valkyrie for PvE and have like an enjoyable grind playing a character that I do love, it's not fucking it. So even though they buffed her and they made it, you know, more viable for grinding, just because you can do it now doesn't mean it's the smart thing to do. Just saying. Anyway, let's talk about the Hasty change here. So Hasty, interesting ability. It now goes super far, full SA run thing. It's basically like a juiced version of Lava Piercer without the, you know, turning capabilities, it looks like. It doesn't seem that you can mouse movement or anything. Not that we have that on console anyway, but it's whatever. So my problem with this ability is I don't really understand how the fuck this shit works. Also, why did that even change? Oh, there we go. Whoops, my fault. Anyway, there we go. So let's just kind of go over this for a minute. All right. So real quick, I'm going to show you guys. All right. So based upon the little picture that we had there, right, that was up, you essentially are going to forehead into the enemy. And then from that point, you are supposed to figure out. So just pretend that we got the updates, right? So I hasty into a group of people, I knock a couple, right? That's not going to fucking happen, first of all, because nobody is going to just stand there and get hit by a point blank ability from downtown. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but let's just pretend that you do, right? So you knock somebody. So what am I going to do? Sanctitas, Davina, Verdict. And I'm supposed to somehow live in that scenario. I am supposed to somehow survive that, right? Mind you, Verdict does shit cancels. Verdict, it has terrible cancels. I'm not, you cannot make this up. It has literally terrible cancels, and you can't really you can't really get out of it. And the problem is, at the moment for console, there's not really a way to like kind of get out of it, right? Like you can cancel with like Hasty, I'm pretty sure, by doing just forward B. So like if you want to do Verdict, you could do that and then do like Hasty, for example. And it's only after the last hit, right? So you can't really cancel the first hit. And that's the issue with the ability. So eventually they're going to change it to where now you can use Davina Volt after Verdict, which is going to be very nice. So this little spin ability right here, let me just lock this because I'm tired of this shit. So this ability right here, boom, and then Davina Volt. You can now do that after Verdict, which will cancel. Very nice change. Very nice change. But this doesn't change my question as to, so what am I supposed to do now? My playstyle is Hasty in, Verdict, and then Davina Volt, Sanctitas, Davina Volt, right? Like that's going to be my combo, but somehow I'm supposed to have enough DP/DR to survive a bombing playstyle like that. This is kind of my problem, is it seems like they want her to kind of have more engaging abilities where she can just have this linear engage and just kind of drop damage, but she didn't gain any tankiness with these changes. She gained a little bit of damage where, you know, some of the abilities got their values changed and her damage got upped, right? But for the most part, she didn't really gain a lot of tankiness, which would allow her to sustain a lengthy engage like that. I mean, mind you, if I dive in, right, and I do like these abilities, you know, these are long animations, and look at how long it takes me to get that whole animation out, right? Obviously it'll be a little bit faster whenever we get the update, but that is lengthy. And real quick, I'll just show you guys some, like, you know, values here, right? So this is my Awakened Valk gear. I'll usually run Renaros rings because, you know, tanky boy, and I like to run these Valk crystals that I got from the Valk Discord, I believe. So I'm running these Valk VR crystals right here. So decent tanky setup with some good HP and whatnot, pretty good. We're sitting at a cool 546 DR, and then this is with Calc Elixir and fucking, you know, DR house buff and a Giants. So this is the problem, right? We are not that tanky. 546 on console is kind of tanky. It's kind of tanky because we don't have a lot of players that are running stupid AP anymore, because they actually gave us content after, you know, 30 years of a content drought. So 546 is kind of tanky now. But let's switch over to my Succession Warrior. 603 DR. 603 DR. Granted, this is with a different crystal setup. I'm running full like DP meme, zero accuracy whatsoever. I am just running full meme. I still maintain a lot of AP, which with, you know, sitting at 308. This is why I made the Renardos video and I talked about often, and you could be able to reach 309 brackets, but it's not pretty negligible for Warrior. It's also not very good in general. So yeah, we don't run that anymore. But the point being is that this is the Giga Tank build. Okay, so if we put that same crystal build on Valkyrie, we still only reach 585, which in Valkyrie's defense, that is rather tanky. But we lost quite a bit of AP, right? Like we lost a lot of our damage output, right? So we go back to Valk DR and we have more human damage with, you know, the Vipers and then the Alucas crystals and whatnot. And not to mention we have the accuracy factors here as well. So we have just overall a bit more damage with the Valk DR versus just running full Giga Tank. Even though the AP values are the same, no, they're not, because the human damage is a factor that you need to make sure that you're keeping note of. So if we go to Valk damage, right, we get a lot more damage, which is pretty decent, but we've still lost quite a lot of tankiness. And keep in mind, this is with Renardos rings. If we're running like full, you know, my AP setup, we are down astronomical. 450 with a shit crystal setup. Let me put something on more practical. Hold on. 506. We are sitting at 506. This is not tanky at all. This is, you are getting one-shotted. You are even with Heaven's Echo buff, you are still getting blasted 1000%. If you get gripped up, put on the floor, you are going to die. Whereas my Suck Warrior, if I get put on the floor, it takes someone at least 4 moons to kill me. Like they are sitting there for days trying to kill me unless they have an absurd amount of AP and running RBF crystals. I am a tanky bitch on Suck Warrior. It takes people forever to kill me. And when I go on Valkyrie, she just doesn't have the same tanky values. So the problem is they changed her playstyle to be this linear engaging character, and she doesn't have any tankiness that would allow her to, you know, bomb a little bit more effectively. So even though she can get in and drop damage, the damage doesn't come out fast enough to justify this playstyle. So that's just, again, 2 cents there for that. They changed the sacrum for it, which is pretty good. They gave this a forward guard, which is really nice. Overall, the changes for sacrum were pretty good. You guys can read this if you want. This is not really my concern. Lucem Fluxum got fixed a little bit. So Hasty, this is one that I wanted to talk about because this is a defensive play style. This is what I usually run whenever I'm doing kind of small scale GVGs. I usually run Hasty because 3 hits all have a chance to bound, which is really nice. It's very powerful. Now only the first hit will stun, and that's kind of mid. Not really a super fan of that. I wish they had kept it the same way, because this was a really strong ability to use from a defensive standpoint, especially when Valkyrie gets gassed and she has like no stamina whatsoever. This was a very good ability to throw out to deter people from engaging, and sometimes they would try and they would get caught. I would catch Sorks with this all the time, especially when I was gassed on stamina, and I would throw this out, and it was a deterrence to allow me to gain some stamina back, as well as, you know, possibly get, you know, a CC going. So you would, you know, go Hasty, and then you would just immediately go into, you know, whatever combo, right? So for an example, I would run the core version, so it's super armor, so boom, we got that CC, boom, bam, bing, bop, and then we drop damage, whatever, do whatever you want to do. And that was really good. But now it being only on the first hit, and it still kind of can work as a deterrence, but once that first hit goes off, all the worry and everything goes away. So I don't really like this change a whole lot. I kind of wish they left it alone, but it is what it is. They also changed it to where it flows better into Terra Sancta, which is really nice, because before you had to cancel into fucking what do you call it, with blocking. So you would go into Terra Sancta, and then, you know, you Hasty, block, cancel, Terra Sancta. That's how you would have to do it. Now it just flows a lot better, which is very nice. And then here are the damage values, and it's whatever. This is not really, I wouldn't really use this as a damage skill. So Hostilidium, the big kahuna here. All right, so changes as follow. Remove the following effects. They took away the down smash. That's fine. I'm not sure what the fuck speed attack is. Like, I don't like, what is that? I don't know what that means. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I have no idea what this means. And then they took away down attack on dash attack hits. I'm sure. Okay. Change to no longer combo into deathline chase or promptness while dashing. So basically you can't, you know, just forward LT into Hasty. Doesn't work anymore because obviously the new speed skill. So it's whatever. Change to perform the stab attack immediately upon dash attack hits. Stamina cost from 200 to 100, which is sure. Change so you can no longer move your character with your mouse during the skill. This is an L for PC. Unfortunately, we never had that on console, so that doesn't affect us all that much. Increase the speed at which you can turn the camera and your character before each dash. Change the skill to dash up to a maximum of 3 times with each dashing, increasing the speed of the skill. Each additional dash will cost 100 to 150 respectively. It'll be rather difficult to change your direction as speed increases during the dash, which that's okay. Additionally, dashes are affected by your movement speed, so that'll be good. The more movement speed you have, the more likely you're going to be able to kind of, you know, run through. Any collision detected during an accelerated dash will make your Valkyrie perform a stab attack instantly. Now this is a problem. Her small scale just got absolutely destroyed with this. Any GVGs that you're fighting in a like orcs or something, you are not using this ability whatsoever. You are immediately going to fucking get collisioned, which is the Zerker problem. You know, we do Lava Piercer. Lava Piercer, for whatever godforsaken reason, has collision. Valkyrie now has the same problem. Welcome to the club, boys. Stab attacks now deal Valkyrie damage per dash, or Valkyrie. I am actually dyslexic. Varying damage per dash. Jesus Christ. This is why you don't make a video at 9 a.m. off of 2 hours of sleep. And then they changed the damage as follows, which the damage actually kind of like went up by a decent chunk. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little worried about these values. We'll just kind of have to see how this pans out, but yeah, we'll see what's up with that. But yeah, these are some pretty nutty damage numbers. I don't know that they're going to stay that way. And here we go. We have a couple different examples here of the skill. So it goes a pretty lengthy distance. So we'll see how this works. Again, I'm a little worried about the linear play style, but we'll see. Verdict Lancia, this is the earthquake ability that I was just showing off here. So they changed the floating to a knockdown on hits. That's cool. That's actually not bad at all. Now, question, this is for the core skill only, right? So if it's now a KD to the Valkyries out there, my question is, do you guys think this is worth it? In my personal opinion, I feel like the Hasty core is going to be a lot more utilized than Verdict, but maybe you guys have an opinion that I might be missing. So let me know what you think about the knockdowns, but personally, I don't think that the knockdown on Verdict Lancia is going to be worth it from the core skill. And the added movement speed minus 30% for 10 seconds on hit. That's kind of nice. You know, you usually end a lot of combos with Verdict, so you could throw this and, you know, everybody's uncomfortable with a minus 30% buff, so that's cool. Change the casting motion, so change the attack area of the skill accordingly, and then change the casting motion of the Black Spirit version. I honestly never used the Black Spirit version, so it's fine. Now this is kind of crazy. Minus 72% is kind of fucking wild. So the damage is kind of juiced. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of juiced. I mean, like, the last attack damage is literally a fuck ton. It's a lot of damage. All right, so we could potentially see a lot of cancels from the first, because even the first, you know, 1500 times 12 is pretty juiced. So what you would do, instead of getting the last hit, maybe if you have enough DP, you can go for the last hit. But what you can do instead is cancel the animation after the first hit, and then you can go into Davina Volt, which is this ability right here. So you do Verdict, and then you can go into Davina. Once you let the ability ride out, though, I will say, so if you want to go for the last attack damage, you cannot cancel the damage, so you're gonna have to use the full thing. So you can only use Davina Volt in the first half of the skill, so just bear that in mind. Now, this is the problem that I fucking had. All right. So adding the all following DP or whatever, basically the Verdict Lancia gives 20 DP. This makes 0 sense. I'm not even trolling. This makes absolutely 0 sense. And I'm going to show you why. All right. So the ability gives 20 DP. All right. I'm going to show you something real quick. Okay. Boom. See that shit right there? That's 20 DP from holding the block button. You want to see something even crazier? Boom, we just cast Heaven's Echo. That's 25 DP from just pressing the A button while holding the block. It lasts for a minute. In what circumstance am I ever going to be casting Verdict and then getting a DP buff that's necessary? Makes no sense. The DP is useless. The DP is quite literally useless. I don't know why they put this here. It makes no sense. If you want to up the value to, like, you know, 40 DP or something, because that's probably what she needs, is like she needs a really high DP stack to like live. Because again, if you want me to play this linear forehead style where I'm just going in and I'm dropping damage like so, and you know, fucking bam bam, and you want me to do shit like that, you're gonna have to give me more DP than 20, because I'm getting one-shotted by the world's farthest archer that I can't even see within render distance. Anyway, Vindicta, fuck this ability. This shit is useless. Promptness changed to no longer recover stamina. So pretty much this is what I hate the most. And promptness now takes 200 stamina, and you can no longer regen stamina. So essentially what happened was this right here, this Valk movement, this got nerfed to shit. This got, like, I can do this forever, right? So on console, this is very hard to do, by the way, on console, because we don't have, you know, like weird key bindings or anything like that. Unless you have paddles, this is very hard to do. So what you have to do on console is press the RB button, A, and then LB. So you would do this, and you know, you could do it fast, but you could bind it to different paddles, and you can do it a little bit faster, as well as steer with it, which is very nice. Okay. So now they are nerfing the ability to do that, and you're no longer going to be able to regen stamina and do it as long as physically possible. So what's going to happen now is you are going to get gassed on stamina if you try and do this movement a little too much. So our stamina management got a lot more difficult, and our ability to kind of move around and whatnot is going to kind of be an issue, and we're going to, you know, have to adjust to this promptness change. I'm hoping that doesn't, you know, maybe they revert it and whatnot, but I doubt it. Wave of Light, this one's pretty huge. They removed the charging effect and changed how the attack cast will happen. Change so Loancast will pull nearby enemies for a certain duration of time and then deal holy damage. I'm not exactly sure what the hell holy damage is, so we'll see what that's about. And then they changed the all DP reduction buff, so it's minus 15 DP to minus 20 for 10 seconds on hit. Kind of big. We'll see what's up with that, but this is pretty good. I don't mind this. Davina Impulsa, this one's really good. I like that the all DP got removed and they replaced it with all evasion rate minus 9%. That's actually kind of juiced. I like that. I fuck with that change. That's actually not bad. However, I'm pretty sure the damage on the values got kind of like tweaked. I don't see them here though. I could have sworn that they got changed, but maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, that's probably the biggest one there. That one's really good too. Blitz Stab and Ultimate Blitz Stab, they pretty much buffed the damage a little bit, but I'm honestly, I'm not gonna fucking do the math on this. Like, this is not, we're not doing the math on these. We do not fuck with math around here. We are leaving this to the experts. All right, I'm gonna say that this is a minor DPS buff. If not, it's a nerf. So either which way, we'll see. Terra Sancta change the damage as follows. So this damage was pretty juiced, so now it's pretty juiced. Side note, shout out to the Valk Discord, but yeah, fucking on the global labs, this shit is minus 100% damage in PvP. I don't know how this is an oversight. I don't even know how you even let that shit happen, but yeah, that's Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Purification, this is just some bug fixes, and then they also gave it a little bit of a damage buff. I'm not actually sure how juiced the damage is, because now it's got the minus 50%, so we'll see. It looks like a pretty significant buff here. It's going from 728 to 1534, so that's kind of big. So we'll see what's up with that. The explosion attack damage also seems pretty nice too, not gonna lie, so we'll see how that works. And then change to no longer apply the DP reduction buff during cooldown. Yeah, so this was a problem, or not a problem, but this Valkyries do want this reverted as well. To my knowledge, it's something related to PvE, but yeah, this they want this to be reverted for sure. And yeah, that kind of covers Valkyrie in a nutshell. This is a lengthy ass video, but yeah, I'll drop the patch notes before, as well as the Valkyrie forum post if you guys want to check that out and give that a shout out here. They've got all this stuff right here. It's this right in this section here for the NA Black Desert forum pages. They go into a lot of detail talking about things that they need to change and pay attention to, which I agree with literally all of this, because it's a lot of oversights in my personal opinion with some of these values and changes and whatnot. So highly recommend checking out this as well if you want to get a little bit more detail from expert Valkyries in the field. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.